Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're bridging the gap between explosive, microscopic chemistry and the highly practical reality of, well, maintaining a backyard swimming pool. We actually encounter complex chemistry every single day, often without even realizing the invisible, high-stakes reactions happening right in front of us. So, we're going to take a fascinating look at one of the most famous rules in science, break down exactly why it exists on an atomic level, and then apply it directly to a very common household chore. Let's get into it.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, the golden chemistry rule. Second, the science of splashing. Third, kittens, yarn, and acid. Fourth, real-world pool maintenance. And finally, doing it safely.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the golden chemistry rule. If you ever took a high school chemistry class, there's a really good chance your teacher warned you about this specific reaction. It is a completely foundational concept when it comes to handling strong, concentrated liquids, and it's usually drilled into students' heads with a catchy and honestly slightly ominous warning. Acid to water, just like you oughta, water to acid, you might get blasted. I know, it sounds kind of like a playground rhyme, right? But it carries some serious, life-saving weight. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that the exact order in which you mix these two specific liquids is literally the difference between a nice calm dilution and a violent chemical eruption. But you might be wondering, why does the order matter so much?
Well, this perfectly illustrates the stark contrast in outcomes. Adding water directly into acid, that can actually boil the water instantly and create a highly dangerous acid cloud, throwing boiling liquid and toxic steam right back in your face. However, if you flip it around, adding the acid into the water, you allow for safe heat dissipation. It's the exact same two ingredients, but the result is completely dictated by the order of introduction.
Let's look at the mechanics in Section 2, the science of splashing. So mixing a strong acid and water triggers what chemists call a highly exothermic reaction. Basically, the acid desperately wants to give away a hydrogen atom, and the polar water molecule highly attracts it. When those atomic bonds form, a massive amount of energy is released as heat. Now, when you add a small amount of acid into a large volume of water, that giant body of water acts like a heat sink. It absorbs the energy, swaying gracefully like a field of grass in the wind. The heat dissipates safely. No drama. But here's where it gets interesting. The true danger of doing it backwards is actually driven by liquid density. Most strong acids are noticeably denser than water. So if you drop a little bit of water into a beaker of acid, you get an effect similar to adding oil to water. The water just pools right on top of the denser acid, trapping all that massive heat right at the tiny interface where the two liquids meet. The heat isn't diffused, it's hyper-concentrated. It brings that small amount of water to a boil instantaneously, and as it violently spatters upward, it carries the concentrated acid right along with it.
Moving right along to Section 3, kittens, yarn, and acid.
Okay, if the thermodynamics sound a bit abstract, I love this visual analogy. Think of the acid molecules as extremely energetic, slightly frantic kittens, and the water molecules as balls of yarn. By dropping the kittens one by one into a massive room full of yarn, the reactive energy is safely and peacefully diffused. They immediately scatter, find their own space to play, and the whole environment remains completely calm. Conversely, think about throwing a single ball of yarn into a crowded room of those same energetic kittens. It causes a chaotic, violent frenzy. Millions of acid molecules immediately attack the tiny amount of water. The energy is hyper-concentrated in one tiny spot, and the resulting scramble literally splashes back at you. Or, if you prefer a human analogy, imagine you have a group of very angry, volatile friends and a much larger group of chill, positive friends. If you want everyone at the same party without a fight breaking out, you invite all the positive friends first. Then, you carefully introduce a few angry party guests into that large room of chill friends to safely counteract their explosive vibes. If you did it the other way around,
Yeah, the house gets completely trashed.
Now let's take this out of the lab in Section 4, real-world pool maintenance. If you have a swimming pool sitting in your backyard, you are actively managing water chemistry, whether you signed up for it or not. When your pool's pH creeps above 7.8, things start going wrong. Your chlorine sharply drops in effectiveness, gross calcium scale ruins your tiles, the water gets all hazy, and swimmers start complaining about red, irritated eyes. To fix this, you need a diluted hydrochloric acid, commonly known as muriatic acid, to bring the pH back down to a comfortable 7.4. And this is exactly where our golden chemistry rule transitions from abstract theory to backyard practice. To figure out your starting dose, you've got to calculate it based on your pool's volume and the current pH level. So as you can see, a 10,000-gallon pool sitting at an 8.0 pH needs about 12 fluid ounces of standard 31.45% muriatic acid. But a quick pro tip here, always dose conservatively, wait, and retest. Dropping the pH too fast or too low makes the water highly corrosive, which literally eats away at plaster and expensive heat exchangers. Trust me, patience is a whole lot cheaper than resurfacing a ruined pool. Wrapping up with Section 5, doing it safely. All right, here is the exact protocol. First things first, safety gear. Acid-rated gloves and splash-proof goggles are absolutely non-negotiable. Next, turn the pump on so the pool water is moving. Now, invoke the golden rule. Fill a plastic bucket half full of pool water first, and then slowly add your measured acid to that bucket, keeping at least a 10-to-1 ratio of water to acid. By meticulously following these steps, you ensure the acid is safely diluted in the bucket first, and then rapidly carried away by the pool's jet streams, which prevents it from sinking and pooling at the bottom. So what happens when you ignore the science? Well, if you skip the golden rule and just dump concentrated acid in one spot, that dense liquid sinks straight to the bottom and literally eats away at your pool's plaster. Pouring it straight into the skimmer, that pushes concentrated acid directly into your expensive pump and filter. Using metal measuring cups, the acid will corrode them on contact, and doing all this in high wind just risks blowing those harsh fumes or worse, acid spatter, right into your face. And guys, here is a rule that is just as crucial as the acid-to-water rhyme. Never, ever mix muriatic acid with chlorine or shock treatments. Mixing these two common household chemicals together, whether that's inside a bucket or outside on the pool deck, triggers a dangerous chemical reaction that releases highly toxic chlorine gas. They absolutely must be kept separate. 4, this is a super important number to remember. This is the absolute minimum number of hours you must leave your pool pump running after an acid treatment before anyone is allowed to jump back in the water. This gives that massive room of yarn enough time to fully and safely absorb all those frantic kittens we talked about earlier. Only after 4 hours, and a quick retest to confirm the pH is safe, is the pool ready for swimming. Ultimately, grasping the why behind these chemistry rules does a lot more than just keep us safe. It reveals the incredible, invisible science happening right in our very own backyards. From a high school chemistry rhyme to the crystal clear water of a summer pool, it is all driven by the exact same atomic dance. So the next time you perform a routine household chore, will you pause to respect the hidden, explosive power of the atomic bonds reacting right before your eyes? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, stay curious.